Hi, this is Stephen from Own or Disown. Today I am reviewing the Lenovo IdeaPad L340 15-inch. Now it has been out a while, and although it remains very popular, Lenovo are launching its replacement, the IdeaPad Gaming 3 this month, and that starts at $730 for basically the same GTX 1650 GPU, so expect some hefty discounts on the current model, which currently starts at $875, and my model is around about $1,020. Now I do plan on reviewing the new Lenovo gaming laptop, so consider subscribing so as not to miss out on those videos. I help many people out making educated decisions on their laptop purchases. My unit has the i5 9300H 4-core CPU, GTX 1650 graphics, 8GB of RAM in single channel, a 512GB NVMe SSD, an Intel 9560 Wi-Fi card, and a 60Hz 1080p IPS display. Even though it is made of plastic, I do like its build quality. For the budget line, they have made it look better than most of their competitors. The lid has a metal brushed look to it with a blue Lenovo badge on the right hand side. It would fit nicely in any setting, work or college. The keys continue the same theme with the blue paint, and even the backlight is blue, with 2 levels of brightness, making them easily visible in a darkened room. The keyboard deck also has that brushed metal look, and the one PC LAN trackpad is also made out of plastic. The integrated mouse buttons do work fine, and it tracks okay, but gestures were rather poor. Lenovo does make decent keyboards, and this is no exception. The keycaps are fairly large and nicely spaced, still making room for a number pad. The function keys can be switched between function or media keys via their Vantage software. Now the only port on the right hand side is a Kensington lock. There isn't even an air vent here. They are all on the left, which is fine by me. It does keep everything away from most people's mouse hand. Since there is no air vent here, the rectangular power port can be placed at the back. You have the RJ45 port, HDMI 2.0, you have 2 USB 3.1 Gen 1 ports, a combo headphone mic jack, and a USB-C port. Most laptops actually have 3 USB Type-A ports, but at least you do get that USB-C, and unfortunately there is no SD card reader. At £4 9 ounces or £5 12 ounces with the 135-watt power brick, it is reasonably lightweight to carry around at college. As is quite common with Lenovo, the screen practically goes flat. Now the side bezels are pretty slim, and the webcam is located at the top, and it has a privacy shutter. So this is the 720p webcam. You know, it's a little bit dark, a little bit grainy, probably not the best 720p webcam. It does have a privacy shutter here, like that. So that's a nice function, at least, you know, for a budget laptop like this. Now when it's on battery, see what it's like. Seems to cope fairly well in that regard, and I think the microphone's fairly decent too. The 1080p LG panel is 60Hz, so don't expect ghosting performance to be great. As a general use panel, it is fine, but it's not ideal for anyone doing photo or video work, you know, given its 60% sRGB color gamut. Due to its poor brightness, which maxed out at only 216 nits, it made viewing angles under bright light not very good. Now interestingly, it was the only panel that was completely dark at 0% brightness. Due to it being made out of thin plastic, it does have a bit of flex, which is quite expected for a budget laptop. As for the backlight bleed, there was a little bit at the top left hand corner, but I have seen much worse. Now one thing many users will appreciate is its low fan noise. Even under full load, it maxes out at 42 decibels, so this allows the L340 speakers to be used nicely when gaming, as they pump out an average 72 decibels. Audio is handled by the Dolby Atmos software, allowing you to choose one of 5 settings. Some will be pleased to hear that the L340 is one of a few laptops that passed my latency mon test, showing that it is fine for real-time audio work. The plastic back panel has one long air intake for the fans and includes a thermal pad on its underside for the M.2 SSD. The one in the system is half-height, but you can install a full-length one should you wish. There was a 45 watt-hour battery, which was good for 5 hours of runtime using 40% brightness, but its Achilles heel is the single channel RAM. There is only one slot, so you can only increase its size from the 8GB that is included. Even the new IdeaPad Gaming 3 will have this limitation, so remember this video when you get one and write a comment asking why the performance isn't what you expected. There is a space for a 2.5-inch drive, but they don't supply the mounting hardware or the SATA connector, so you will need to buy that yourself. The SATA connector is underneath the M.2 drive. You can replace the Intel 9560 Wi-Fi card should you wish, but I found it worked well. For cooling, you'll have 2 fans and 1 heatsink, with the GPU and CPU sharing the same 2 heat pipes. The keyboard gets to about 38 degrees, which is okay, but no air is brought in via the keys. You will notice that a lot of the hot air is actually blown into the screen, and that gets rather hot at 49 degrees. And underneath, it reaches 50 degrees, so that is on the hot side. Within the Lenovo Vantage software, you can check the system updates, enable fast charge, or enable conservation mode, limiting the battery to charge up to 60% to conserve its lifespan, which is ideal if you're using it daily for work. Okay, so going back to that single channel RAM, what can we do to improve performance? Well, fortunately, Lenovo hasn't stopped undervolting, so this is the first thing you should do. I set mine at minus 135 millivolts. You can also overclock the graphics card. Now your system may have to use different settings, but even this is worthwhile doing. Here is Shadow of the Tomb Raider benchmark using higher settings. Stock is at the top, CPU undervolted is in the center, and at the bottom we have the CPU undervolted and the GPU overclocked. Now without a doubt, undervolting is worthwhile, and overclocking the GTX 1650 helps further. If the new IdeaPad Gaming 3 doesn't allow undervolting due to the Plundervolt patch, then we could be in trouble. At stock, the CPU runs at 15 watts and a really low clock rate. I have seen as low as 1400 MHz. Undervolting allows the CPU to be fed more power and a higher boost clock. Now in this chart, the yellow bar represents my Acer Nitro 5 with the same CPU and the same GPU, but running dual channel RAM. At all quality settings, it is beneficial to have, especially as you lower those settings and the game becomes more CPU bound. Single channel RAM will just bottleneck the system, and as games start to require higher PC requirements, you are unlikely to benefit by dropping settings. Thus, the useful lifespan of the L340 and the IdeaPad Gaming 3 will be lower. Undervolting is a must, and if you can squeeze a bit more out of the system with an overclock, then even better. We actually get quite close to the performance of a dual channel system. Here is PUBG using ultra settings. We have stock at the top, undervolt in the center, and the undervolt with the GPU overclocked at the bottom. The CPU uses a similar wattage, but we do see a bump in boost clock with the tweaks, and you see a higher GPU boost clock with the overclock. Now one thing to note is that at stock, I would get a lot of dips, basically making the game unplayable in a competitive setting. And as you can see in the chart where stock is in the orange bar at the bottom, I was getting dips of about 1 FPS, even using very low settings. In the blue bar above it, I show the effect of undervolting, and I got a 10% improvement at ultra and a whopping 28% at the very low setting. The minimum frame rates were very much improved and gameplay was much smoother. The top bar represents undervolted and overclocked, and this helps further. Heck, even its minimum frame rates are higher than the average stock frame rates. At stock, Battlefield 5 was basically unplayable at any quality setting. It wasn't smooth at all. Here I show ultra settings. Stock at the top and undervolted and overclocked at the bottom. Now this is a 64-player Rotterdam map, and the difference in frame rate is night and day and made the game playable even at ultra settings. So at ultra settings we get a 26% improvement, and at low settings we see a 50% improvement. If this isn't a clear case for continuing to allow undervolting if the system only has single channel RAM, I do not know what is. Even in CPU work, you get a benefit. Here's Cinebench R20, the multi-core test, and the L340 is at the bottom in blue. So at stock we scored 1,305 points, and with an undervolt we get a 29% improvement. The bad thing though is that we are now seeing systems with 8-core 4800H CPUs at the same price level, with a better GPU as well. In those, expect a 215% improvement in CPU work. And now how about a longer running test like my Handbrake encode? Well, this is the time taken in seconds, so lower the better. Undervolting improved the time by 6%, so it's definitely worthwhile. Now, other than the single channel RAM, I did like the Lenovo L340. The keyboard, fan noise and component thermals were good. Build quality is fine and access to the internals is easy. And the screen is okay for general use, but it's not a gaming or a content creation panel. So at its current price, it is too high, especially when its replacement will be here soon at $730. I hope to see the L340 at the $600 price point, and at that level I would say it's a decent buy for someone starting to get into PC gaming. I'd like to thank you for watching. If you like my channel, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.